This is to do with how to implement a B2B online ordering system. My name is Dan Maitland. I'm a director here at Web Ninja. As I just mentioned, we've been around for 11 years. We're based on the Gold Coast. And what we specialise in is integrated e-commerce solutions for B2C and B2B, and actually a whole lot more. But our speciality is accounting software integration, particularly getting that accounting software integration out to a variety of web applications, just to make your business run more efficiently. Reporting tools, e-commerce tools, B2B, B2C, as it says there. Over that 11 years, there's certainly been a fair evolution in terms of particularly something like B2B. 11 years ago, it wasn't something that a lot of people were thinking about. There was a fair bit of growth around B2C, and that generally tends to be people's experience with ordering online tends to be more around that B2C experience, whether you're ordering online through an eBay or Amazon, or whether you're just going through the Iconic and Myer and some of those big online shopping carts that are B2C centric rather. Over time though, specifically in the last 3 to 4 years, the rise of B2B ordering and online ordering and the expectation of businesses to be able to order online has grown hugely. And I've got some stats to show you a little bit later on around the growth of B2B and some forecasting on just how big it is and how big it's expected to be. So it's becoming quite an essential part of dealing as a wholesaler, distributor or manufacturer, dealing with your customers and improving your customer satisfaction and customer service is actually to be presenting your products online at your customer's price with live inventory and making a nice, efficient experience for those customers so they can order 24/7 and say that, if that's something that you offer that your competition doesn't, it's certainly a leg up on your competition. So in terms of today's presentation, it's going to be an introduction on B2B. It's going to talk about, a little bit about the evolution of B2B. It's going to focus on some of the specifics around B2B online ordering and what you should really be thinking about if part of your plan this year is to get your B2B system online, get your customers ordering from you via a web portal. Then I'm going to outline 5 really critical, essential elements, in my opinion, in terms of what you should be thinking about, what you should be asking about before you take this next step forward. Towards the end of the presentation, we're also going to say, well, what do you do now? Where do you go? Who do you talk to get some unbiased information on what's out there in the market, and how do we take the next step forward? If we have time at the end, then this will probably run 30 or 40 minutes. If we have some time, then I'll open up the question area of the site just via the chat to see if you have any specific questions. And as I said earlier, we'll make this recording available after the webinar, so you can watch it again or share it with other people within their business. So to kick it off, we really want to define what B2B is. Of course, it's business to business, pretty obvious, but it really is about creating relationships with your customers who tend to be, in most cases, they're going to be on selling your products. So if you're a wholesaler or a manufacturer, you're selling out to these retailers, and they're the ones that are taking your products out to the market, out to the B2C space. What it means is they're repeat customers. So it's in your best interest to have a positive relationship and provide a positive experience in terms of ordering from you for them, and have a long-term relationship with your customers. So, the B2B ordering side of things makes it such a critical advantage that you can give yourself over your competition. And if you are getting repeat orders from customers, we talk about how we can make that experience really efficient, so that they're not taking longer to order online than they would if they were calling up or sending an email. Because ultimately, part of offering this better service for your customers is also providing more efficiencies for you as a business. So you're not rekeying orders, you're not dependent on someone taking a phone call and typing it in, and a lot of data entry issues and things that can come along with that. B2B is also generally discounted pricing for customers. So if you are getting repeat customers, repeat orders, you might negotiate prices with specific customers, the ones that order higher volumes. Potentially they get a bit of discount. The evolution of accounting software in the last 10, 20 years and a little bit beyond that has been about managing different prices for different customers. So the expectation then rolls into if I'm ordering off you online through your B2B system, I expect to be ordering at my price, and I really won't accept anything other than that. So I'll talk a little bit more about one of the critical, I think, essential elements for me is having some accounting software integration into your B2B system. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that means, because it's not quite as scary as it might sound. Also with B2B, we touched on this already, it's reordering the same stuff from you. If you're a food distribution business selling out to cafes and tuck shops and things like that, typically they're ordering the same stuff in different volumes. They might even be ordering at the same time every week. And so to present that data and present those products to that customer, to have some smarts and some intelligence around what each individual customer is ordering and make it easier for them to reorder. Again, it's a really critical piece of getting this B2B system working efficiently and making it something that customers are comfortable with and then therefore happy to return to. And B2B versus B2C, they're actually quite different. There's quite some different philosophies around a B2C site versus a B2B. As I touched on, most of us here, our first experience with ordering online would be through a nice, pretty, good-looking B2C site where it's all about imagery, it's all about product information, and it's all about getting your attention. So there's a statistic specifically on B2C sites that says you've got 10 seconds for a new customer based on what they see in the first fold of your site. Now, the first fold is basically what fits on your screen. So different screen sizes can mean different things, of course, but you've got 10 seconds to get their attention. If you can't create trust, if you can't show that you have the expertise, the professionalism and the products that they want or the right price, if you can't prove that in 10 seconds, chances are you're going to lose a lot of those, and you can get analytics and statistics that will tell you what a thing called your bounce rate is, which is how many customers will leave your site without clicking on anything. So there's some good stats you can find out about for that sort of stuff. B2B, if I go over to my little grid, so here's just a little sort of 5-point table of differences here. B2C is about making the site attractive, as I mentioned. It's got to capture their attention, and it's got to prove that you've got an understanding of what they want, and it's also going to be informative and generally pretty content heavy. So that can be blogs, that can be plugins to your social media, lots and lots of content pages, it can be downloads on products. And it's really saying if that customer was in my shop, so I'm trying to replicate my shop experience. If they were inside my shop, how would I give them information? How could I give them a real touch and feel aspect of my products so that they will have a higher chance of buying? The B2B side of things, it's more about efficiencies. It's more about keeping your content light, but making the orders, the products very accessible, making it quicker to order, less clicks to order, and making it really efficient for your repeat customers. Back to B2C, and everyone buys at one price. So you might have discount coupons or some special prices, but effectively anyone that lands on the site can order then and there. Whereas your B2B side of things is typically can be custom pricing or at least discounts for certain types of customer groups. And a lot of the times the pricing will be logged in, so only approved customers can see it and only your approved customers can buy. But a lot of the time the products themselves will be completely hidden until an approved customer comes in, and then you've got control over who you approve and who you don't, and therefore you can sort of measure and manage your customer list a bit more effectively. So it's not a free-for-all like a B2C site would be. I've already touched on it a little bit. The product images on a B2C site, you would have all seen those zoom images, the ability to zoom in and scan around an image, multiple images, every different angle of a bike that you might be looking to buy, the colour, the seat, the handlebars, all that sort of stuff. It's really, again, trying to replicate that in the shop experience as much as possible. Whereas the B2B, some of the systems may not even have product images. It might have a product code, a description, and how many of it's in stock, and the price that you buy it. But because it's a lot more lightweight, I don't have to click into each product to order it. I just might have a grid sort of view, which I'll show you an example of shortly, which says, you know, I want 2 of those, 3 of those, 5 of those, add them to cart and get me out of here because I'm busy. And then from a payment point of view, B2C site, you'll have typically a credit card portal, so you're taking money off your customers then and there before you'll accept the order. You know, PayPal, payment gateways, credit cards, that sort of stuff. Whereas your B2B system, you might want to incorporate, you might allow people to firstly place their orders on purchase order, but you might also actually even want to incorporate some trading terms and payment terms relative to each customer. So you still might have the cash only side for new customers coming into the site, but you might actually allow some of your longer term customers to put things on order and ship the invoice out with the product. So again, you're just creating a nice, comfortable experience for those customers that you've built that trust up with. So lots of differences there. I thought it was just important to highlight that you don't just set up a website and hope that it's going to capture your B2B audience. There's a little bit more sort of specifics that go into it. If we go back in time a little bit and talk about where B2B has come from, and just touch on this really quickly. The old school, you know, a few decades ago, people fax their orders in, they'll phone their orders in. So they'll write it on a piece of paper, ship it in, they might have an order form book, something like that, or they'll just call the office, call the salesperson and say, this is what I need, this is what I want. Suddenly we're going into quite a manualised process where that salesperson or that receptionist then has to key the order in. They may not necessarily know whether the products that they're ordering in stock, so there can be delays on getting the order, and there might be delays on even shipping the order out. But also there's a lot of potential there for data entry errors, typing in the wrong code, typing in the wrong description, things like that. It can become quite costly for a business. Not just the time it takes to deal with that manualised sort of processing. Sales reps are, you know, always been out on the road for forever, but it used to be a pen and paper order form. They'd go out to see their customers, they'd write it down, then after visiting 6 customers in a day, they're back at the office at 7 o'clock at that night, keying in orders or putting them on someone else's desk to key them in the morning. Again, it's a longer process, and the potential for not having the stock that the customer's trying to order or making an error with that order is still really, really big. Time delays, longer to get the order out, longer to get paid. Along came, you know, Excel spreadsheets and lovely order forms and that wonderful thing called email that none of us can live without now, which meant sales reps can now email their orders in, customers can email their orders in, they might send in spreadsheets. Creates huge efficiencies to the business because it's all there on a nice electronic form, and we just have to transfer that into our accounting system. But again, we're still running into that problem of not necessarily knowing if those products are in stock at any given time for that customer. So we haven't quite nailed the inventory management and the efficiencies here. Along with all of that came accounting software. And it's been around for a long time now, but certainly more recently, really complex pricing functionality. So you're negotiating discounts with certain customers for various reasons. They're expecting to order at that price, and it's near impossible to be printing out price lists out of your accounting software every week to give your customers up-to-date price lists for themselves or up-to-date stock levels. Everything's just moving so fast that that's just not enough anymore. So where we've ended up is we've ended up with this fully integrated online ordering system. What that means is it's live inventory, it's live pricing, and it's 24/7 for your customers. So, you know, the evolution of this stuff has happened relatively quickly, but certainly this is now, the online ordering side of things has become that real essential part of what your customers' expectations are. And just to give it a little bit more substance, this was a study done in 2011 by a research company called Forrester in the US, which predicted by 2013 that B2B e-commerce revenue, so this is just online revenue, would exceed B2C by more than double at $559 billion. So quite astonishing really that the B2B e-commerce market even a few years ago was already much, much bigger than what we are generally more familiar with the B2C side of things. So it's quite staggering. And then just a footnote there, a little bit more research I did said in 2015 that B2B e-commerce revenue actually hit $692 billion. By 2020 they think it'll be about $1.1 trillion of B2B revenue just in the US. So the growth that they're expecting is around about 9 to 10% year on year in terms of companies ordering their products online. So it's been steadily growing over the last 3 or 4 years, and it's going to continue to grow. So that graph is just saying that there's a huge marketplace for this stuff. We've got to get some of it. We have to get in there and get our customers ordering online. Further on that research from that Forrester Research Group, they interviewed 236 B2B buyers, and 75% said they preferred buying from an e-commerce system rather than buying from a sales rep. So that's actually quite staggering, and it's a bit scary for sales reps, to be honest. I'll talk a little bit about it. I don't think these systems necessarily are about making your sales reps redundant. They're about complementing the sales reps and giving them some more tools to sell. But what that stat's telling us is people would rather talk to a computer than a sales rep in a lot of cases. Further to that, and this is really scary, 93% of B2B buyers said they would prefer to buy online once they are sure what they want to buy. So they're saying once they've built a relationship with you, they may have seen your warehouse, they've picked up and felt your products, and now they're familiar and confident with what you have, is that the products you have is what they want to buy online. They don't want to talk to anyone. And if I go to my next slide, this is where it gets really quite scary. There's a webinar coming up out of the US, which I want to have a look at. It's next week, where a whole lot of new research is done that's telling us that B2B customers don't want to talk to you. They want to order, they want self-service, they want to be able to research their products, they want to be able to buy online. And I think, it is scary. It feels like a horrendously antisocial way that we're heading. We can probably thank Facebook and Instagram and social media for a lot of that, but the fact that everyone's connected 24/7 to their phones, to their tablets, to their emails, to their computers, I guess it's a natural trend for people to just want to take care of some of their business processes while they're there online, which is all the time. So people are, yes, they're getting a little bit more antisocial, but let's put the right tools in front of them. I'm not talking about myself. Let's put a B2B system in front of them that can make it easy for them to get online, order 24/7 at any time during the day, and get their products shipped out in a nice, efficient way. So I'll be tuning into that, and that'll be really interesting to hear what their research is telling us. Okay, here's the big part of today's presentation. It's the 5 essential elements of a complete B2B online ordering system. So this is my completely biased opinion on what you want to look for in a B2B system, and this is just over the 11 years of what are the trends that I've seen develop and some of the really specifics around B2B that you should be looking out for. Number 1, hands down, is to create a speedy and convenient experience for your customers. That might sound a little bit like a no-brainer, but what I'm talking about is when I log in, I want to see my products, I want to see what I've ordered before. I don't want the guff. I don't need to hear about how wonderful the company is. I don't need all these flashing lights in front of me. I want to get in, I want to get the right products at the right price, see the right stock level, and I want to get out of there because I'm busy. I just want to get that done and know that order is sitting back in your system and you're going to ship it out to me tomorrow. So it's got to be quick. I don't want to spend half an hour clicking into every product and adding it to cart. I don't want to have to keep searching and going back through categories and be clicking on images and all that sort of stuff. I want to see my products in a particular style layout, and I want to do it quickly. What that's going to generate is going to generate great customer service, because if the website experience is better than talking to someone and it's quicker and it's more accurate and all the information's there, I'm going to order through that thing all the time. It's going to become your 24/7 salesperson and probably your best salesperson because it's there and it's up to date and there's, it's all about getting the information correct and your customers can order whenever they want. What we can also then start to do, if we know our customers are coming in there and using that website, is we can build some automated upselling tools and suggest more products that other people in the market are buying, new products on special, on top of what they're already ordering. So we can start to look to automate upselling opportunities to those existing customers. And on the flip side of it, for us as a business, we're going to remove that human error, and we're going to remove delays on getting those orders through for whatever reason. If there was a fax or an email that went unnoticed, or a phone call that didn't get keyed in, improving the customer service by making it 100% accurate and removing some of that potential for human error and data entry latency. Number 2. So this is really biased for me, but I'm really passionate about having accounting software integration because I know the efficiencies that it can bring to your business, and I'll explain what I think that means. But this could just as well be tied in with number 1 to say, by actually integrating your accounting software, whatever that is, we've got the entry-level stuff, the NYB range, Reckon One, Xero, really popular in the Australian market here, right through to some of the mid-market solutions with Exo, Attaché, Infusion, Jiwa, the list goes on and on and on. But having that information, that's where you run your business day to day. So getting that information up to date and then having that reflect on the website, I think is just absolutely critical, because then you don't have to manage your website or your e-commerce system separately from your accounting system. You know that if your pricing is up to date, your customers are accurate, the information is accurate, and your inventory and your stock take and everything in terms of what your stock levels need to be, if that's accurate, then that can be reflected live on your website. And your customers will know that, they'll pick up and they'll have confidence that what they're ordering is actually accurate. So for your customers to be able to sync those out to your system and notify your customers that there's a web portal available for them, here's your login, here's your password, all your pricing is available and the stock levels are all available, that's a fantastic service to your customers. And just to automate that process without having to key customer accounts in, or even without having to get your customers to sign up to your website, if we automate that process, then you're much more likely to have an impact on them and get them ordering more quickly. But why not throw our invoices up into that system as well, so the customers can come in and download copies of their invoices, and no more excuses about I didn't receive that invoice, or I haven't seen it, or what is it? To be able to say, well, just log into the web portal, they're all there, and they'll be there within a couple of hours of the invoice being issued. So no more excuses for non-payment of invoices. And then the final one there is having an order sync. So when that order is created by the customer on the website, that we send that back into your accounting software. It doesn't have to be rekeyed. It's sitting in against their account, ready to be picked up and processed. Pack it, get it out the door, get them their products sooner, and get paid sooner. So the efficiencies from end to end of having your accounting software integrated, it's just going to make your life 10 times easier. And I feel that that's again as important as having a good online ordering system, for you guys to be able to actually manage that system in an automated way and just worry about getting your accounting software accurate and know the website's a reflection of that. It's just going to make your life 10 times easier. There's been a big rise in cloud accounting software. Everyone would have heard about Xero and NYB Essentials, as I mentioned, and Reckon One, QuickBooks Online, that sort of stuff. But that doesn't mean if you're using desktop software, that doesn't mean it's not accessible in the same way that cloud accounting software is. Just about every piece of desktop accounting software in Australia will have integration options. So if you think you're running something that's pretty obscure, or if you're using one of the more popular brands like Reckon or NYB, then definitely, I'll tell you a little bit more about this at the end, but definitely start to make some inquiries about what options are available. It doesn't matter if you're in the cloud or the desktop, there's ways of doing it for both. Number 3, I've touched on this a little bit earlier, but having your products laid out in a more efficient way is just hugely important. This example that I'm using will show some of that pricing integration as well, where you might have discounts for buying higher quantities, but we haven't got a we're not necessarily showing the actual stock level, we're just showing that it's in stock. We're not bothering with an image in this case. We're showing the code, the description, which has the size of the beaker in this case, and then what the pricing mechanics are and the discounts are per quantity. So if I'm ordering this, I might just go 5 of those, 3 of those, 10 of those, add to cart, and as I said earlier, get out of there because I know what I want and I'm busy, so I've got to get on with it. So it's quite different from that B2C layout where you have nice big images, multiple images with zooms and lots of information. Number 4, responsive design. So what is responsive design? All it is like the picture suggests, your website or your online ordering portal is going to fit on any screen. So phones went from really small to really big, and now they're going back to small again. Tablets were big and then they went small and now they're getting big. Desktop screens are getting bigger and laptop screens are getting smaller. So it's impossible to build a single website that's going to fit on all of those screens and work really well unless you incorporate this thing called responsive design. So responsive design means it's been built in a way that will shrink to fit the screen. So if you can just sort of see the smaller phones, it rearranges the icons in a certain way. Some of the content will get thrown away, but for your B2B system, it's just going to be product-centric anyway. So whatever device your customers are on, they're going to have a really good experience, which is all about getting your products in front of them as soon as they log in, their pricing, their stock levels and stuff. People are on their phones, people are out and about, but they may realise that they want to order something while they're having a cup of coffee. Get on your phone and order it. So responsive design is critical. Don't get a system that doesn't have it. It really is as simple as that. You'll regret it down the track, I promise you that. So most systems will have this built in now, but just make sure it's something you demand, or at least ask about when you're doing some research in the market. And then number 5, I touched on this a little bit, but having some sort of sales rep ordering facility in your website is something that for us has been hugely popular. For us, it's saying that your sales reps, they might take the tablet or the phone out and order on site with their customer on their customer's behalf at their customer's price and have it shipped direct to the customer while they're standing beside them. So it's a really nice way to expose your customers to online ordering if they're a bit sheepish about getting on there themselves. The sales rep can go out and see them and say, watch this, here's what you ordered last time, I'm going to reorder that, let's add a few more of these products you told me about. They're walking around the shop, they're keying in the product codes, they press confirm order, and by the time they've walked out of the shop, that order is sitting in the accounting system and can be basically processed straight away. So it gives their sales reps the opportunity to order more efficiently without having to send an email and calls on behalf of their customers. So they don't, they can do that from home as well. But also they can give them their customers some experience of ordering online, and then hopefully start to get those customers coming in and ordering direct. So sales rep ordering, even just on its own, if you're a sales rep heavy company that is is always out on the road with sales reps with different territory, then a B2B online ordering system can be just on its own for sales rep ordering, can be really important for your reps just to create some more efficiencies for them. Okay, and then where do we go beyond that? So those are my 5 tips, but that's just to get you up and running. There's a lot of trends happening still that are the way I see it, there's opportunities to actually then extend your sales channels into other areas and sell more products in different ways. So here's a few of the more recent sort of trends and things that are happening in the market that I've seen. And I just wanted to touch on these quickly because these should be something that you keep in the back of your mind as other opportunities. Some of you will already be selling and doing some things like this, but if you're not using eBay or Google Shopping, then you want to be thinking about how you can get some of your products into some of those platforms as well. Yes, with the wholesalers, distributors, etc., you don't want to annoy your existing customers. You don't want them to see necessarily in a lot of cases that you're out going direct to market, but they don't necessarily have to. And something like eBay can be fairly anonymous in terms of what you're selling. So if you're having a sort of an internal discussion or internal battle about whether you should do it or not, that's fine. I'm just saying that there's some other channels out there. A big thing with this multi-channel selling is, why not give it a try? Why not list some stuff on eBay and see if it works? Google Shopping's another one. If you do a Google search for a pair of shoes or something, and you'll see on the search results, you'll now see some images directly up the top of the listings with pricing. That's Google Shopping. So imagine if your products were showing up there and people were actually straight away were clicking into a site containing your products, or at least have the ability to purchase those directly through another interface. Kogan's another one. Kogan's a big site in Australia now. That guy is just hauling products from all over the country and selling them at rates that most people can't compete with. He's got an interface where you can send products into the Kogan site, sell them, and just take the orders back and ship them out from your warehouse. And Get Price is one that's been around for a while. So all of these sales channels, they have these things called APIs, and an API is basically a way of communicating to that platform to get your information and your products into their systems and sell them. Customer Relationship Management, or CRM. So hopefully you've heard of what a CRM is. It's basically managing your sales process. So it's managing leads through to potentials and then ultimately quoting and selling. But it's also something that will contain a lot of your customer interactions, a lot of your client management stuff. So if you're using a CRM currently, or you're looking at getting more organised and having your customer information available in a CRM to your sales reps and to all your staff members and receptions, that sort of stuff, then you should be thinking about how do I incorporate my B2B into that, so that if someone comes to my B2B site and tries to create an account, they might be a new customer, that information goes somewhere that we can then do something with it. They might then go into a sales process in terms of converting them into a new customer, or doing that initial sales to that new customer. So keep that in mind. And then a little bit similar to the multi-channel stuff, why not dip your toe in the B2C market? BigCommerce and Shopify especially are entry-level shopping carts that are incredibly flexible, that will allow you to create a completely separate brand, push some products in there, and see how it goes. Why not? If you're prepared to try some different things for really, really low cost, you can start to just, as I say, dip your toe in the B2C market and just see if there's some other opportunities out there to sell more products at a retail price. I had one customer a few years ago who was a wholesaler of hose fittings, basically hoses and caps and that sort of stuff. He was getting a lot of calls direct for people saying that they couldn't find where to buy his stuff. So he'd refer them on to retailers and sales reps around the place, and he was sick of them not getting good enough service. So he set up a B2C site so that he could just say, go ahead, just go to onlinehoses.com and order it through there, because he wanted the customer to still be able to buy, and he was sick of pumping off these leads elsewhere that wouldn't necessarily get followed up. So look, there's an opportunity there. As I say, it's not for everyone, but certainly there's an opportunity to try a bit of B2C and see how you go. You get fantastic margins if you're a wholesaler selling direct to public. EDI, there's a little bit happening in the marketplace around being able to automate the process of sending and receiving documents, so purchase orders to invoices and things like that. Keep it in the back of your mind that wouldn't it be great if your customers could go to your online ordering, send a purchase order that comes directly into your system, but also at the same time download that sale back into their system, so it doesn't have to be re-entered on their side. So there's some products around and some companies that we're working with that are really accelerating this EDI thing and having a system that covers off basically all major accounting software applications in Australia. It's something that you should be aware of that's happening. And then beyond that, it's really broad, I guess, but the automation of everything, having everything connected, having all your systems talking to each other, the way the stuff is evolving in another 5 years, having integration of all of your systems will just be expected. It'll be something that is a no-brainer, and if the systems don't talk, then you won't be signing up for it, sort of thing. So beyond that, if you follow the likes of the founder of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, he's getting right into this AI, artificial intelligence, that is all about building computerized systems that start to learn and grow and understand data and then evolve a little bit. So, you know, AI is all about really computers starting to learn human behavior and starting to make, I think initially make our lives easier and then eventually overthrow us all. But the automation of everything is really just keeping in mind that, hey, you should be thinking about integration every step of the way. You should be thinking about getting your systems talking to each other, because it's going to cost you less in terms of staff, and it's going to make the transactions quicker, it's going to make the service better, and it's going to get you paid faster. So lots and lots of opportunities right here, right now, but in the future there will be a lot more as well. So we're just about ready to wrap it up, and it's really just to go, what do we do from here? So if we haven't committed to a B2B system, but you really can see it as an opportunity, and you're just starting to get your head around what it would be and what it would look like, is just saying, write up what you want. Doesn't have to be what I've talked about here. Does the sales rep stuff work for you? Is integration going to be an option? Try and tie those things together. Try and pull out the bits that are relevant and start to write a bit of a plan about, my B2B system would be these things for these people. I think it's really important to, you know, work with staff, work with your sales reps, even work with people on the front desk that are taking calls to say, where are the holes in the business at the moment? Where are we sort of struggling to keep up with demand? What can we improve? And would a B2B system allow us to, you know, generate more revenue at a lower cost and create some more efficiencies in our business? And it's not about making people redundant in the business, it's about making their lives easier and then allowing them to actually extend out into other areas of the business, be more active in selling and creating more revenue. So, you know, write it up, try and get an idea of exactly what works for you guys. And then what I would say would be step one after that would be to say, consult your accounting software partner if you're working with a bookkeeper or even an accountant, or you've got a specific partner that looks after your accounting software. Consult them and say, what do you know about this stuff? What's out there? Who have you heard of? Who should we be talking to? Hopefully those guys are in contact with some of the partners that are available. It'll depend on you know, whether they're looking at B2C and B2B options and integrations, that sort of thing. But definitely ask the question. Beyond that, if you don't have any luck, or even if you do, why not go direct to your accounting software vendor? Hit them up, go to the website, see if they've got an add-ons area, have a look at what's available, call them directly and say, this is what I'm trying to do, where should I go, who should I talk to? Most of the accounting software companies here in Australia will be able to give you some direction on what's available. And that will give you an unbiased view, by the way. My view is much more biased. So go direct to them and say, what's out there? This is what I'm trying to do. Here's my requirement sheet. How much should I be willing to spend? And how do I get started? Is there a demo available? That sort of stuff. Beyond that, Dr. Google. So Dr. Google's there for, to type in your keywords. Type in B2B ordering for NYB, B2B ordering for Attaché, B2B ordering for Reckon. Whatever it is you're using, do some research there. B2B ordering for apparel companies, B2B ordering for packaging companies. See what you can find out there, and then get in contact and start to weigh up what the options are. You know, look at the pricing and the functionality versus what your budget is and what your requirements are. So get on Google and see what's out there. And if you get the results at the top of the page, you know, they generally should be better suited. If you're going to the fifth page to find results, you know, you're probably not going to find too much down that end of town, but you should be, if there's something in the market specific to your requirements, you should be able to find it quite comfortably on the front page of Google search results. Beyond all of that, drop me an email. So dan@webninja.com.au. Just drop me an email and say, this is what I'm thinking, what's out there. I'm happy to put you in the right direction. If what you've seen and what you've heard today is relevant for your business and you think that that's right on the money, just drop me an email. And as I say, I can point you in the right direction. I can give you some more information. and help you to start to do that research and to get moving on getting your B2B online ordering in place. So with that in mind, that's really us coming to an end of it. Take my details down. I'll send out a link to this recorded version sometime later today once we've got it all downloaded. You'll be able to come to the website, download it, view it again, pass it on to other people in the business, pass it on to other businesses, that sort of thing. I hope that that's been beneficial. I hope you've taken something out of it today and that it started to get you on that process to, you know, how do you get your B2B system online and what some of the key aspects of it should be. And hopefully that will help you start to make a bit of a success of the online ordering stuff. As I say, drop us a line, any questions, I'm happy to help, and hope to hear from you guys soon. Let's just jump, I'm just going to jump on the chat quickly and see if there's any questions that have come in, just bear with me. If you have got any questions, drop us a line now, otherwise we'll give it a minute or so and I'll just say thanks for coming.